Howdy, maggots and dolls, and welcome to the Halloween special episode of Puppet Panic. Hallows Eve is fast approaching, and you all know what that means. It's Hocus Pocus time. Many centuries ago in the town of Salem, a teenage boy called Thackeray Binks tried to save his little sister from a trio of evil witches called the Sanderson sisters. But he sadly failed, and the witches punished his interference by turning him into a cat forever. The witches were then caught and sentenced to a hanging, but they used their last minute to perform a spell, announcing that when a virgin lights the black flame candle, they'll be able to return. Centuries later, a boy called Max moves to Salem with his family. He has a terrible first day at school and is rejected by his class crush, Allison. He really wishes he could go home. On Halloween night, Max is pressured into taking his little sister Danny trick-or-treating. Later, he arrives at Allison's house and he dares Allison to take him to the house of the Sanderson sisters. While goofing around, Max lights the black flame candle, causing the Sanderson sisters to come back from the dead. And they want to regain their youth by sucking the life force out of children. Our heroes manage to steal the witch's spellbook, but this just makes them targets for the sisters. Luckily, Binks the cat is eager to help our heroes stop the witches. Now, I'll totally admit that this film's biggest weakness is its storytelling. The setup is all there. 3 witches need to get their book back to make a potion that'll help them drain children's life forces, but these witches are far from tactical or competent. They're very easily distracted by the modern world, to the point where they frequently forget their mission, like it's suddenly irrelevant. Sure, they'll sometimes snap out of this and do something constructive, like try to grab the book out of our hero's hands, put the adults under a spell, or attempt to kidnap the youngest child. But strategic planning is not their strong point. They're either too stupid, too immature, or too sensitive to keep any kind of concentrated momentum going. A lot of the movie consists of filler and excuses to find comedy from the witches' misunderstandings of 1990s America. Humorous vignettes to pass the time until the climax, when the Sanderson sisters finally make the potion. So, when watching this movie, don't expect a smooth transition between each plot point, because there's a lot of meandering going on. But this is just me being an objective, honest critic. Because, well, while I am aware of this problem, I still love the hell out of this movie. I adore it. Yes, the story wanders around like a confused puppy, but you know what? I don't really care, simply because these witches are so damn entertaining. Even when nothing important is happening, these 3 keep things fun with their charmingly cartoony personalities. Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker and Kathy Jimmy are having a blast playing the Sanderson sisters, embracing their roles with a pantomime delight. The thing is too, they're not all just eating the scenery and being hammy for the sake of being hammy. Each sister is given a strong characterization to make their performances unique. Thought and imagination went into these sisters' personalities, mainly thanks to the actresses' creative take on their roles. Kathy Jimmy is playing Mary like a loyal dog, being the child hunter of the group with her sniffing skills, and ass-kissing Winnie like a lovesick pup.
This is the end.
No.
I feel it.
Okay.
We are doomed. I feel the icy breath of death upon my neck. Mary?
What?
Take me to the window.
Yes, Winnie.
I wish to say goodbye.
Yes, Winnie.
She also gives Mary this odd mouth expression by hanging her lips to the side, further adding a strange distinction to her character. Sarah Jessica Parker plays Sarah like she's the daughter of the village idiot, childlike and naive, yet also endearingly quirky.
Therefore, it stands to reason, does it not, sisters dear, that we must find the book, brew the potion, and suck the lives out of the children of Salem before sunrise? Otherwise, it's curtains. We evaporate. We cease to exist. Dost thou comprehend?
Well, you explained it beautifully, Winnie. The way you started out with the adventure part, and then you sort of slowly...
Explain what?
It's a terrific comedic portrayal of the dumbest sister.
All Hallows Eve has become a night of frolic, where children wear costumes and run amok. Amok.
Oh, Winnie, just one child.
Bette Midler's Winnie is the real star of the film though, a hilariously campy diva with a small hint of menace. She's so flamboyantly evil that she steals the movie.
Dazzle me, my darling.
let's see. Amnesia, bunions, children's cholera. We can do better than that, I think. Let's see what we have. Oh. Perfect. As usual.
She really is an animated Disney villain brought to life. I love her so much.
Soon the lives of all my little friends will be mine. And I shall be young and beautiful again forever.
Credit should also be given to director Kenny Ortega's choreography of the sisters. There's some great use of Broadway dance for the witches, to generate a sense of unity between the sisters and make their body movement creatively theatrical. But the witches aren't the only fun villains. There are other silly baddies too. Like the stereotypical 90s bullies, who remind me of Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers. These two fit perfectly into the tone of the film, and can be almost as enjoyable as the witches sometimes. Yeah, they might look a bit too old to be stealing from trick-or-treaters, but I think that also adds to their charm, because they're so dumb, cowardly and lazy that they go for the lowest hanging fruit. The actors playing them are clearly having a lot of fun.
Whoa, I love the costume!
Yeah.
But what are you supposed to be? A new kid on the block?
Information. He's a little leaguer.
Whoa! Ooh, I'm a little leaguer. Whoa! Yeah!
There's also Billy, played by the wonderful Doug Jones.
Oh, no! Kill him! Do it now!
Wench. Trollop, you buck-toothed, mop-riding firefly from hell!
Ah!
I've waited centuries to say that.
He's a terrifically eccentric evil henchman, with his zombie quirks adding to his charismatic charm, like how he walks with a stagger or when his head falls off. But what about our heroes? Do they hold their own in a cast of zombies and witches? I do quite like the dynamic between these three. Allison and Max start off as rivals, one being a skeptic and the other staying true to her beliefs. But when Max is proven wrong, he must work with Allison and put his trust in her, making for a chemistry that builds naturally into something more. Allison isn't just reserved as the love interest either. She has moments of intuition, noticing small things that can aid them on their mission.
Don't listen to her!
Max, I figured it out.
What?
Winifred said, the candle's magic will soon be spent, and dawn approaches. The black flame candle only brought them back for this one Halloween night. And unless they can steal the lives of children, when the sun comes up, they're dust.
While Danny and Max have a very believable sibling relationship, as they argue and fight like any other brother and sister would.
You just humiliated me in front of half the guys at school. So collect your candy and get out of my life.
I want to go home now.
But we know that deep down, they love each other.
Give me one more chance.
Why should I?
Because I'm your brother.
The film really likes to contrast Max and Danny's relationship with that of Thackeray and his sister, creating a strong theme of being responsible for your younger sibling.
You really miss her, don't you? Man, you can't keep blaming yourself for that. That happened so long ago.
Take good care of Danny, Max. You'll never know how precious she is until you lose her.
Max may be going through teenage hormones, but he still knows that he has to take care of his sister and do the right thing, which is why he takes failure so personally.
It's really bad.
Max, come on. Calm down.
Look, I want you to take Danny back to your house and don't let her out of your sight.
Max, I'm not leaving you.
Binks the cat is an adorable mascot for our heroes too, a helpful sidekick for the trio, as well as a likeable, cheeky comic relief.
You're my kitty now. You'll have milk and tuna fish every day, and you'll only hunt mice for fun.
You're going to turn me into one of those fat, useless, contented house cats.
It's hard to not love him and enjoy his presence on the team, not to mention his bond with Danny is very special, as it's a new chance for him to look out for a little girl he loves. But another strength of this film is its embracement of the festive season. It celebrates Halloween with a gleeful, whimsical, spooky atmosphere. Hence why so many people, like myself, love to watch this film as an October tradition. There's trick-or-treaters in the streets, candy, witches, a zombie, a graveyard, a Halloween party for the grown-ups, and the movie is set in Salem. This film is the best way to celebrate your fall season because it has all the perfect Halloween ingredients. I also think that this scene of everyone going to bed after an eventful Halloween night is so pure and wholesome that it makes me feel warm and fuzzy. So, I think it's time for me to address the giant elephant in the room. A common criticism made against this film, that being the shaming of Max's virginity. I do think it's a problematic element in the film because it implies that being a teenage virgin is something to be embarrassed about, which it isn't. And the movie never assures teenage audiences that it's okay to be a virgin. I'm sure Disney didn't want to make that suggestion, considering their wholesome image, but it's hard to read it any other way when the film mainly uses Max's virginity as a plot point and a comedic punching bag.
And he's a virgin.
Come here. Are you a virgin?
Yeah.
It's a missed opportunity to promote healthy sex education to young people. Anyway, let's talk about the puppetry. Yes, this movie features puppets. It is part of my Puppet Panic series, of course. Binks was played by a bunch of real cats and an animatronic cat. But the animatronic cat was deemed too robotic, so it was enhanced with CGI. It is amazing seeing two drastically different techniques being melded together, one digital, one practical, to create a very unique special effect. One that has pretty awesome results like this. But it does make my job difficult, as it's hard to tell where the puppetry begins and the CGI ends. However, what I can make out of the animatronic cat does look good. It moves nicely and transitions from the real cat surprisingly smoothly. I do also get why CGI was used to improve it. It does help a lot. Winnie Spellbook is also technically a puppet too. It's brilliant how the film manages to give this book a personality just through one moving eye. That's a real triumph. Lastly, the film actually produced miniature puppets of the Sanderson sisters to help achieve wide-angle shots of the witches flying. These puppets are so well crafted and expertly performed that I bet you didn't even notice that some shots of the Sanderson sisters were puppets. To conclude, Hocus Pocus may lack focus and it really is a product of its own time, but I still think that it's super charming and incredibly entertaining. It's bursting with Halloween spirit, enchanted with clever special effects, and held together with a consistent theme of sibling responsibility. Plus the Sanderson sisters are delightfully funny comedic villains. I've been Jamboree and I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, then feel free to like, subscribe and share. Also, please consider supporting me by making a monthly pledge to my Patreon in return for awesome rewards. Thank you. So, what am I going to be reviewing in the next episode of Puppet Panic? Well, you may have noticed that Tom Hanks is going to be releasing a new biographical movie about the life of Fred Rogers. So I thought it would be perfect to go back and look at Fred Rogers' TV show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Cheerio, folks, and happy Halloween!